Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. We finally have some Season 2 knowledge for Street Fighter 6. We now know some, and I mean some, a very small amount of the balance changes coming to the game. Now, no, just so I don't get your hopes up, this isn't full patch notes or anything like that. We'll get that in time, I'm sure, but right now in Japan, there is a limited time event called the Real World Battle Hub going on, where people get hands-on time with the Akuma build of the game, and the Akuma build of the game also is Season 2. So Season 2 and Akuma drop May the 22nd, so that is later on this month. Not too long from now in the grand scheme of things, I suppose, but it's always nice to get a little bit of a sneak peek. Now, right before we get into it, because I want to really set this straight, none of this is set in stone. This is what people on site have tested, and it doesn't mean it's necessarily guaranteed. Maybe people could be mistaken or have secondhand info or just one thing or another, right? Don't necessarily take this as gospel, because all we can do is take people's word for it, and also pictures and video on site are not allowed, so we don't get any visual confirmation. Also, this is from a limited selection of the cast, because we only know with what people have told us, and especially, say, in Japan, where this is, characters like the grapplers, Zangief, Lily, and Manon, they're not terribly popular, so there's no info on them at all. And of course, Akuma is playable on site as well. Not too much just yet, other than apparently he has 9,000 health, which does make him easily the lowest health character in the game. Everyone except for Honda, Marissa, and Zangief all have 10,000 health, so he's markedly a lower health character than everyone else. And we've already seen the trailer, we've already broken down trailer, check it out if you haven't already. Yeah, Akuma's got a lot of savage stuff, so he definitely warrants lower health. And besides the health, apparently people are big fans of the buttons. His buttons feel good and they feel big, apparently. Akuma also has throw loops, so do not expect the throw loop mechanic, as it were, to go anywhere in Season 2, unfortunately. So before we get to, admittedly, what little we know, it's not a lot, we'll know more in time, we do have one change that's a universal systems level change, and it's a pretty big deal. So, drive reversal. Remember that? Doesn't get used much, because, to be frank, drive reversal is not very good. So drive reversal is getting better, and it has an all new function. So drive reversal, first off, is going to be -6 on block. It is currently -8, so it's still punishable, right? Still punishable, but less punishable. Instead of getting medium punish counter, or maybe even some characters' fierce punish counter, you're probably just going to get like an equivalency of a jab punish counter combo, right? So you're still going to eat garbage, basically, but not as terribly. So that's nice, I guess. But the big thing is now everyone can use it as a wake-up option. As far as I can tell, as reported on site, it's going to be same deal. It's going to be like 2 bars. It's not increasing cost or anything. But everyone can use it as a wake-up. An option that, when used... Okay, everyone has a wake-up reversal, right? Basically. Because, you know, there's a lot of characters in this game that have like nothing to wake up with, or even like less than nothing, right? So now everyone, maybe you don't have the EX Shoryuken wake up, the full invincible cool attack or whatever, but everyone will have this as an option for a wake up. So this is certainly gonna be interesting, right? So everyone will have a full invincible, because drive reversal is full invincible, a full invincible wake up. But it's not gonna invalidate, you know, the Shoryukens and stuff of the world, because a drive reversal still is not fast startup, right? It takes a while to get going. So, you know, things like EX Shoryukens, which could be anywhere from like 5 to 6 to 7 frames or whatever, like, it's just, those are still going to be better. Although, there is one thing. Since the drive reversal is only going to be -6, while you're still going to get punished either way, an EX Shoryuken getting blocked is going to be a much bigger punish. But that said, now everyone will have an invincible reversal. That's cool. But given how slow drive reversals are, that means everyone is going to be able to do safe jumps to get it, all sorts of setups against it. It's good that it's there. It gives a lot of like options to characters that just didn't have options before. But it's certainly not going to be infallible, and it's certainly not necessarily going to fully replace the already existing reversals. But it's a cool thing to add to the game. Now, let's talk some of the character-specific changes. So on site, this is a big one for Ryu. So Ryu has the Denjin buff, right? And then he can make like his next Fireball or his next Hashogeki, just like, you know, way bigger, stronger, multiple hits, better. Just better all around, right? But the thing is, as soon as you commit to the special move, you burn the buff. And there's no way to not burn the buff. Now, apparently, that's going to change. So as was reported on site now, if you have the buff live, you only burn the buff if you do the heavy version of Hadoken, or if you do the heavy version of Hashogeki. If you do the lights or medium versions of either move, you will not burn the buff. You'll just do the regular version of the move instead and save the buff for when you actually want to use it. Ryu's buff's actually like one of the cooler aspects of a Street Fighter 6 character, right? But it did suck that it was like all or nothing. As soon as you commit to any special move, you had to burn the buff immediately, right? Now, you don't have to. And like, it's not like you're losing anything, right? When you have the buff live, the heavy version is exactly the same as the light version anyways, right? They go at the same speed, do the same damages, do all the same stuff. So now you just get more options, and that's great. Especially with, frankly, Akuma launching. Ryu's always had the problem of, when compared against Akuma in most every game where they're both in together, that he's just worse than Akuma. Like in, you know, modern-ish examples where that's not the case, like vanilla Street Fighter 4, that was only because, you know, Shoryu FADC, you know, Metsu Hadoken, right? Because Akuma's Ultra just wasn't as good. But then Ryu got nerfed, and then blah, 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 and things went on the way they usually go, right? So Ryu having some identity that's identifiably his, that Akuma cannot steal when he launches, is definitely for the best. And I hope Ryu gets a little bit more going on. Like, they changed up, you know, the Hashogeki, that's going to be more of a bully move in the last, like, mini patch we had. You can always kind of enforce those plus frames. I just want Ryu to not be invalidated when Akuma shows up, basically. So this change, among whatever else we're going to get, is a good step in that direction. So Jamie seems to have quite a few interesting changes. One is stand medium punch is now going to be +2 on block instead of +1. And Street Fighter being Street Fighter, even a single frame on block more is a very big deal. So that's cool. Crouch medium punch is currently +3 on hit. It is now going to be +5 on hit, and that means it can connect into OD Palm. So EX Palm, pretty alright move. And now this will be a natural combo, also very good. Also, speaking of Palm and, you know, the certain kind of Jamie player you might run into online, big buff to that playstyle, because apparently 4-frame moves can no longer punish Heavy Palm. Heavy Palm is -5, right? So that means it's at least -3 now, which means it would be safe on block if a 4-framer can't punish it. So, F it, we Palm boys. You just got a really big buff. The Jamie that doesn't like playing neutral, the Jamie that'll complain about E Honda's headbutts and Blanka balls in neutral, and then Palm all day anyways, you just became E Honda and Blanka, basically. So look forward to that. Now, of course, it can't all be buffs, right? So we do have some meter nerfs, it appears, for both Rashid and for Chun-Li. So for Rashid, when he has his level 2 Whirlwind on the screen, he can no longer gain meter. Because as it stands, he can gain all the meter he wants, like regular values, when people are basically, you know, forced to sit there and block all day long, right? Because his level 2 super is pretty alright. I think we all agree on that. So, that's just basically going to get curtailed a bit. He won't gain like half a bar in block stun pressure on you while you're sitting there just having to like it, right? So that's admittedly a straight nerf, but I think overall a fair one. And Chun-Li kind of same-ish deal here. So Chun-Li, after doing her level 2 super, can get combo follow-ups, right? And the thing is, she gains a fair amount of meter after the fact. So it's not like a lot, but as you can see here, we gain, you know, a sizable chunk back into the meter that we just spent in the same combo that we spent the meter, right? And this is an important route for Chun, and you'll see a lot of Chun-Li players do something akin to that, right? So that apparently is going to be curtailed just a little bit as well. And while this is only the 2 situations we know about, but it would stand to reason in other situations where you're spending a serious amount of meter that you might not be able to gain a lot more meter after you spent it in that same pressure or combo situation. We'll have to wait and see. So now let's talk Aki. Aki has some very interesting changes. Now, one is crouch medium kick. So crouch medium kick is +1 more on hit. So it'll be +5 on hit, which specifically means in the context of a drive rush that it'll be +9, which means that'll link into stand heavy kick with 9-frame startup, right? So they're not quite giving her, the usual crouch medium kick, drive rush cancel, like BS that like most of the actually good characters have. And that's good. I don't want everyone to have that. That just gets boring. But they are giving her like reasons to, DR in and use this as a button. Because if you do, then you'll connect with heavy kick, right? That's pretty cool. That gives her new combo routes to work with, new toys to play with. And speaking of new toys to play with, apparently her light whip, the quick little poke here, very strong-ish neutral button. And obviously detonator as well if it connects, always handy, right? So if this hits as a punish counter, apparently like the hit reaction has changed or something along those lines, that you can actually drive rush in and get a combo. That's actually really cool. That's a pretty sizable buff to her neutral. Like Aki always been, like a good buttons character, stand medium kick, forward heavy punch, all that kind of stuff, right? So adding another just strong neutral button to the arsenal, or if you happen to get that punish counter, and you get like some semblance of a combo, that'd be cool. Now, it's not specifically stated if that's only on like, say, poison detonation versus say just a regular hit. But either way, that is certainly welcome. Any Aki player will definitely take it. That's really cool. Another big change is stance punch. This guy here, the big old poisoned leap attack, right? So apparently this is frame 1 projectile invincible. And if that's the case, this is a big benefit. Like, stance fishing, just seeing what's happening, right? Seeing if they're going to toss something. If this is frame 1 projectile invincible, this is going to be a very big deal in a lot of matchups. Not the least of which, now that Akuma is going to show up, regular fireball, red fireball, that kind of stuff here. If you just kind of fish with this here and you catch them in the startup of the button, especially on an Akuma health level character, because as we discussed, he's a low health character, right? That could be game, especially if they already have poison on and, you get the detonation and the crumple going on, right? So this is only, once again, not necessarily the full change list. But for Aki, these are all great quality of life changes. I can only imagine every Aki player is very happy with them. And now we're coming to the part where I saved this for last because I'm just kind of disappointed. So I knew Honda was going to get nerfed in some way, right? Even though he's not good, anyone with any objective look on this game knows he's not a good character, but he's a character that gets people stuck in their feelings, regardless of the fact that he's not great. And then I start seeing things like this. Goichi post, Honda has become really weak. I don't know what parts need to be strengthened. It's scary, LOL. Oh, well, that's awe-inspiring. That builds confidence in the character. I see this from Storm Kubo. He's a person like legendary in Japan for playing, the big characters, right? Kubo immediately breaks down in tears. Sorry, I can't headbutt you anymore. I would like to inform you from now on, your LP will no longer increase in ranked matches, so you'll no longer be able to advance to Master. There are people who live in Honda. I will never forgive Dagura. So yeah, so there's one small buff that we know of, and Lord knows maybe the whole opinion will change once we know the whole patch list. But here's the nerfs as I know it. So for one, Honda after his butt slam is no longer in command grab range. And you know what? That's okay. If you saw the video I made about suggestions for buffing Honda, this is actually one of the nerfs I put forward. Increase the knockback distance for Honda and the opponent character once the butt slam is blocked. And to be fair, it's honestly not even much of a nerf. If you watch that video, you would know that anyone in the game, even Dalsim with the worst backwalk in the game, if you hold back, you're immune to like 99% of the things he can do after the fact. He cannot grab you anyways, no matter what, if you hold back, right? He can't really enforce much other than perhaps going for like a point blank forward heavy kick, which isn't really much of an option anyways, right? So that's fine. Actually, I'm not broken up about that at all. If you knew the matchup, it was already a non-factor, and increasing the pushback, I know people get like emotional about Honda because of the butt slam, so I'm okay with that being nerfed. However, here's one where this is a little more suspect. So apparently if a headbutt goes underneath somebody, Honda will stop dead in his tracks as it goes underneath. So they'll always be able to land on his head and then get like a full punish. And you know what? I would almost be okay with that, except for the fact people are not saying the same about Blanca, which they are similar style moves used in similar ways. And if Honda's is nerfed this way, but Blanca's is not, that's some BS. Like, let's call for what it is. So we'll wait and see if perhaps Blanca is nerfed in the same way. I don't got a problem with it, right? That just means if you got jumped on, you're bad at doing headbutts anyways, you deserve to get hit. I'm okay with it, honestly, at least on that front. The one nerf I saw is, it was mentioned by Goichi, that Honda, his stand medium punch, which is already one of his best moves, right? Apparently moves forward even more than it currently does. So he moves forward just a little bit, but he phrased it as more comparable to Manon. And for Honda, like, this is a, you know, combo starting move. It's a plus on block move. It leads into his various gimmicks and various gigas. So if that's better, that is generally going to be a good quality of life buff for the character, as long as they don't nerf like things like the startup or the frame date on it. In most major fighting game patches, there's always the character that gets unfairly nerfed, right? The character that doesn't deserve to get nerfed. And I've always been terrified it was going to be Honda, and it might be Honda, honestly. So once again, before I get full doom and gloom mode, we do not have anywhere near a complete picture, right? We do not have patch notes. We only have casual observations from, you know, a media event that's going on right now in Japan. We'll get full patch notes in time, and hopefully everything works out for everyone. Let's put it that way. And that's a brief peek at what's going on. Once again, not full notes. We'll have full notes in time, good observations just from people playing on site at the Real Life Battle Hub event. And I'm glad for it, right? Having at least some info to work with is better than just being in the dark. Considering that Akuma comes out on the 22nd and the patch comes out on the 22nd, I figure we'll probably know the patch notes sometime before then. At least for my sake, I hope so, because I gotta make the whole patch notes breakdown video, and I'd like a little bit of a head start on that. Really interested in seeing how some of the characters go. Once again, there's just no info on Manon. There's no info on Lily. These are the kind of characters that are just not popular in Japan at all. So we'll see. And especially because these two characters are among the two of the most needing of severe changes, right? For Luke, I didn't hear of any nerfs at all. Luke's our golden boy, and I very much believe even if he does eat some nerfs, he will remain a golden boy going into the future. Capcom wants him to be good. He's the guy what's on the box, right? When you buy the game, he's the first face you see these days. You do not see Ryu, you see Luke. So they're invested in keeping him good. So even if he eats some small nerfs, I'm very confident he will remain a strong character. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. We've waited a year, right? This better be a big patch. This better be some really big changes across the board to justify us waiting so long. Dalsum I'm scared of as well, because Dalsum's, you know, he's all right-ish, I guess. And he's one of those characters that's very prime to like kind of take over the game if he gets a few good buffs, right? So wait and see on that. But yeah, just excited for everything. Naturally, of course, when the time comes, expect full coverage on everything on the channel. I'll do my best to keep you guys informed on all of the things happening. And till then, well, I guess we sit and wait. And I suppose that's the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.